Hari Om, Namaste. Welcome to day 68 of 108 days of Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutations Challenge. Today, here in this part of Bharat, India, it was the eastern part near Kolkata. It's all rain drenched. You see the light is already a little down the darker side. The roof is wet, but I'm excited for recording this session for you guys. So today, we are going to discuss about the second of the 5 niyamas that we have been discussing, which is Santosha. Santosha or contentment. Yesterday we talked about the first of the 5 niyamas, Shaucha or cleanliness, internal, external, all of that, and we have a detailed discussion. If you haven't watched that video, watch it here in this iCard here. Watch it and let me know in the comments how you felt about that. Okay, so today we will again finish our asana practice, the sun salutation Surya Namaskar asana practice. Then we will move on to the philosophy part where we discuss the second of the 5 niyamas, Santosha. Very, very important quality to have, especially in today's world, in this materialistic world, to be content. And we will see what Maharishi Patañjali himself, the father of yoga himself, has to say about this particular quality. Let's get on. Let's meet on to the mat first for our asanas. Welcome to the yoga philosophy section of day 68 of 108 days of Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutations Challenge. As I mentioned at the beginning, today we will be discussing the effect of the practitioner or yogi being firmly established, firmly poised in the self-discipline or niyama of Santosha or contentment. A very, very relevant topic in this world and during this time of 21st century, where one thing, if there is one thing that is missing, very much so, within almost everyone's in our lives, bigger or smaller, in smaller extent or in bigger extent, is this one quality or self-discipline, which is Santosha, okay, contentment. Now let's first learn the sutra, what Mahārshi Patañjali talks about, and then we will talk about that what exactly it means and its purport, okay. This is sutra number 42, because sutra number 40 and 41 was about Shaucha, cleanliness. We already discussed that. Now this is 42, second chapter, Sadhana Pada. Sutra goes like this: santoṣād anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ, santoṣād anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ, santoṣāt anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ. From Santosha comes what? Anuttamaḥ means unparalleled, where there is no better than that. That kind of sukhalābhaḥ means happiness, supreme joy. From being established in contentment, supreme joy, supreme bliss, unparalleled joy is attained. Now we have to understand why this joy is being called the supreme joy. Let's try to understand it. Now see, when does a joy is not like the supreme joy? When is it not? Let's try to understand the other side of it. When the joy is of rajasic and tamasic kind, then the joy is not for a long term. It's not of the superior quality or the supreme quality. When it is joy coming out of rajasic activities or tamasic activities. And it's in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, there is beautiful shlokas mentioned about this actually, where which kind of joy is rajasic joy, which kind of joy is tamasic joy. Beautifully Bhagavan Shri Krishna explains, okay, when he talks about the gunatraya vibhag yoga, right? The three kinds of guna, sattva, rajas, tamas. So let's understand what is rajasic joy. Rajasic joy is like bishakumbham payomukham, means there is a pot where it's actually filled with poison, but on the top there is some nectar. So people thinking at the beginning that, oh, they are drinking milk, but later on they realize, once the milk is done, they realize, oh my God, it's all filled with poison. So they feel the effect of it later on. What can it be? So it can be, say, gratification, momentary gratification of our sensory pleasures, like eyes, ears, tongue, skin, and nose, right? Whatever we take in as inputs, we could be feeling very joyful at the time, whether it's, for example, in some sexual activities which are mindless, right? And later on we realize that we are in a trap. We are in a trap of, like, there are strings attached to it, and then it was not dharmic, it was not righteous, and then it was falsified. It was like not something that is letting you sleep later on in a peaceful state. Or suppose you think that some food that is tasting very good, right? Very good at the beginning, but then only later on, when the digestion phase comes, you understand by the reactions in the body that the food did not really go well with you. So that comes out later on. Initially the food was very tasty, you thought. So like that, whatever at the beginning we think it's very good, and later on we only feel the repercussions. Those are the rajasic joy. It's only momentary. Tamasic joy is there is things that are coming out from agyan, ignorance, from the very beginning. Yeah, at least in the rajasic joy there was like some joy at the beginning, which is true. The taste was really good, so that was true. When people are indulging in sexual activities, at that moment of having the activity, it feels good. But the point is, the repercussions only come later on. Like bisha kumbham payomukham means when the poison at the top of the pot gets emptied, then only you get to the nectar, right? But at least the first part was milk. Tamasika is little different. Tamasika joy means it is from the top to bottom, it is based in ignorance. Like suppose a serial killer, he goes out and from one person to other, he just keeps on killing and doing mass murders. He feels an inexplicable joy in that activity. Or someone inflicting pain, physical or mental, or whatever kind, like they are directly or indirectly inflicting pain on the other person, and they are feeling joyful about it. So the joy, it is only based on, it's surrounded on that person dipped in ignorance. That is not joyful to whoever who is sensible. So the joy itself, the basis of the joy is in ignorance. Because that person is in ignorance on the card, that's why they think it's joyful and only for them. Okay, so they are oblivious to people around them or their position in the society or things like that. They don't consider anybody else other than them. Okay, so that's like a tamasic joy. Sattvic joy is from the platform where it originates to, the end of it, like aftermath of it. It does not have any repercussions, or we don't feel like sorry after that. Okay, what can be example? Example is like we doing Ishvara Pranidhan. We will talk about this as one of the 5 niyamas. Ishvara Pranidhan, right? Surrendering to the God, surrendering to the supreme power, whatever it is for you. So when we have dedicated something, when we have dedicated our whole devotion to something which is bigger than our little mind, little brain, little body, something bigger. It can be another human being where we have dedicated ourselves completely without even thinking about ourselves. Of course, not to the point of self-inflicting harm. That will be not sattvic. But I'm just saying that to the point where it does not cause harm to ourselves, they have dedicated fully to the other person or to the divine, whatever it is. Doing chanting on the names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, or Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, whatever is your name, whatever is your chant, whatever is your name, by just chanting that, doing kirtana, soulful kirtana, by opening their hearts, people feeling joyful, and that. So the sattvic joy is something. First of all, it is based on righteous things, and also the joy is not only just for the person who is doing the activity; it also brings joy to others. For example, in a kirtan, not only just the person who is leading the kirtan is happy, everybody else who is there, they are actually dancing in joy and ecstatic. I am sure you have seen the scenes of those kirtans where everybody is ecstatic in the process. So do I mean here that sukhalābhaḥ, anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ means sattvic joy? Well, you can think of it just to start with, but also we should know to a deeper level of understanding that sattva, rajas and tamas, these 3 qualities, as long as we are attached to these 3 qualities, we are still in this materialistic world, because these gunas only exist in the material world. Once we are beyond these gunas, we are in a different state of consciousness. We don't have any more duality, like good, bad, sattvic, tamasic, like we don't have any dualities anymore. Even in sattvic and tamasic and rajasic, they have dualities, right? Like they have prakar bhed, like they are different characteristics of certain things. So what I'm trying to say here is that sattvic joy, you can think of it as sarvottama, anuttama sukha. We can think about this as the sattvic joy, but in this material world, okay? In the material world. So, santoṣād anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ means when we are poised. Now, when we are poised in santosha, means contentment, what happens is, we talked about this anuttamaḥ sukha. What can be the superior joy? When does it come? When one is established in contentment. Because if the process of attaining that joy is coming from a space of lack, is coming from a space of envy, jealousy, the other person have it, so I must also have it, and whatever I have, it's not enough. If it is coming, if the process of trying to get that joy is coming from a space of I don't have enough, from a lacking point of view, then that will always lead to either rajasic or tamasic states later on. Because if we don't get it, what will happen? Guess what will happen? If somebody has invested their whole life savings for attaining something, it can be that one dream car, one dream job, one dream property, whatever it is. And imagine if that does not happen to the way that they thought that it would. What would happen? It will be a disaster. Like they will, because it is coming from a space of lack and like a greed and desire beyond necessity. If it is coming from those platforms, which means lack of contentment, then it's not going to lead to long-term joyfulness or joy. Okay, that's why it's not the best kind of joy. Best kind of joy will only come when we are trying to attain it from a space of, or we are not even trying anything. It is coming to us just because we are being content. So everything is coming to us, right? And whatever comes, that becomes a matter of joy. It's not that if that thing comes, if I get that job, if I get that property, if I marry that girl or the guy, or if I buy that car. Did I say the car already? Probably. I love cars. If I go to that country, or if I live in that place, I'm just saying that as long as our happiness is conditioned, that means we have a desire attached to it, and then if we don't get it, it will be not giving us long-term joy. We will be depressed, sad, and it happens all the time when we don't get what we want. But if we are content, if that thriving, if that attempt to get that joy, to attain that joy is coming from a space of I have enough, but if I can upgrade myself, that will be welcome too. That is fine. But that should come from a space of contentment. Only then what will happen, if we don't get it for whatever reason, suppose we don't get it at the end, our state of being will not be changed. We will still be in a blissful state, okay, cheerful state. So that's why I want to say that santoṣād, from the space of contentment, when it is the mentality of sufficient mentality, like enough mentality, I have enough, whatever God has provided me, it's enough. But see, there is a fine line between, I should mention this, I love mentioning this, there is a fine line between santoṣa and complacency. Means you are becoming complacent and lacking the zeal to thrive for doing better. Not like that. Even those things, I'm not saying that when I say you are content, it does not mean you are complacent. That's why they are two different words. Complacent means there is a tamasikata, certain like an excess of tamasikata, lethargy, sluggishness, stagnancy has overwhelmed us, right? Not that we are not taking any actions to improve where we are. We should never stop improving ourselves until our last breath. But what I'm saying is, whatever we do in terms of taking actions, even if like to upgrade ourselves, that should come from a space of contentment. That's all I am saying. Okay, so the contentment is the basis of permanent happiness, or the supreme kind of happiness. So santoṣād anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ, one being established firmly in contentment, supreme joy is attained. Only then, if we are content, then the joy will be long term, and it will be cherishable, not just momentarily. Okay, so please keep in mind santoṣād anuttamaḥ sukhalābhaḥ, and please keep in mind what I mentioned as the fine line between complacent and contentment. Complacency and contentment, they are not the same. We can attempt to thrive and to be at our best version of ourselves and to upgrade ourselves wherever we are, but that the basis that should come from a space of contentment. That's all I'm saying. I hope I am very clear. Please write me in the comment section if I am clear. If not, please let me know what is the question. And if you have not seen the other videos yet, we have been talking about the 5 niyamas already. Sorry, we have already talked about the 5 yamas, and then the first niyama, shaucha, is completed. Today is the second niyama in the 68th session. If you have not watched all these previous videos, watch this playlist here, and then you will get all of that. Thank you so much for being with me in this journey so far. I will see you in the 69th session with the discussion on tapas, or austerity. Very important. Thank you. Take care. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. Hit the bell notification icon. Bye bye.